What is up?
What's up,
Fabulous? Welcome back to the
That's so
Business
good.
channel. We're doing a London tier list.
Yeah, we're kind of getting ready for Pro Tour London.
Yeah.
The people need to know what to bring to this event, Spencer.
The people need to
they
know.
Need to know the truth.
I am Boosting Spendog, and today I'm here with my fellow colleague, Jacob McCormack. Say hi.
Hi guys.
Hi.
It's still Jake, but oh well.
It's still Jake, you know. Alright, and we're doing a London tier list today for our thoughts on the upcoming meta in London and what we think the best picks are and what we think the worst picks are, etc.
Yeah, I think this meta has a lot of layers to it, but I think some parts of it are very simple, and I think so. Grave Bones is best I can format.
Yeah,
but
he will be.
I think, yeah, honestly, he might be. I think like a lot of people are also just like, what are your thoughts on Syndra going into this meta as a bit of a Syndra master?
Oh yeah, so guys, I want to think on Syndra. And I think I don't know why she's become bad. People have started telling me to play these like blue lists and shit, and I don't. Everyone knows how to play around Masker Momentum now, right? And now that that's happened, it's just she's not getting as much value and surprise as she was when she released. So, especially into pro players, they just know exactly how to block, and they'll block. Therefore, I don't think it's a great pick at all. Like, it's a good deck, but it's just not gonna be as effective as if it were like a calling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think in that early meta of the Hunted is like exactly kind of what you're talking about. Before people kind of understood the interaction, they kind of didn't really understand the one-dimensional puzzle that kind of is Syndra. Like, she does one thing, she's very good at it, but as soon as you understand how to disrupt it, it makes her play patterns very consistent, but also very easy to predict and disrupt. I think Lucas made a really good point on the Runaways podcast, talking about how Nu is a really good deck because multiple times throughout the game your opponent will just make a totally wrong misplay because they don't know what's in your hand. The problem with Syndra is that every turn you know what's in their hand. You know what's going on. You know that they're going to throw another head jab, and if you block that one and the next one, you stop the draw, and then they're kind of below rate for the turn.
Yeah, exactly. Like, where do you think she sits between best deck and format and don't play?
I think honestly, I think now that the Guardians have kind of moved back up into the tier and the Assassin players are kind of starting to pivot away from CYB, I think C is actually the appropriate tier for her. I think there's a lot of decks that she like probably has insanely good matchups into, like the Brutes, for example.
Yeah.
But I think in general at this top tier meta of London, where we're kind of going to see very practice game plans, I think she's either a bottom of B or top of C hero.
Yeah, I think she's in B tier, because the way we're ranking it, right, is like best deck and format, and then A tier beats best deck and format, and then B tier beats A tier, right? Is that kind of the way we're gonna do it?
Yeah, I'd say it's kind of like it's like best deck and format is the best deck and format. A tier decks are decks that have a chance against the best deck in the format.
Yeah.
B tier decks kind of exist in that realm where they're really good against everything, but they're not really good against the best deck in format, so they lose a lot of points for that.
Yeah.
And then C is kind of you've got some layers going on that kind of makes those decks viable.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
All right, next we'll just do Aurora. Just get the.
We might as well.
Take the fries out of the bag.
Is there a surprise? Let's put the fries in the bag and put the Aurora in the best deck in format. Like
it's so good.
Is there really any debate at this point? Like, I think it's pretty unilaterally agreed by most people.
Yeah.
Other than some Enigma Copas this weekend.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going on
that's
with that.
wild.
Like, I think the build of Enigma that we're starting to see, like, it's just undisputed at this point. Like, Aurora, like, she has the tools to deal with all of the different answers to her. She has this insane variant combo to bring in against the slow matchups. She's a very like well-designed hero that's also just fully built out. If you want to take a more mid-rangey, more blocky, that's just something you can do. She has great game into the Assassins, which is something super necessary for this state of the game. Like, realistically, it's like she just does everything. Like, there's short of making allies, she does everything.
short of making allies, she does everything. Like,
There
and
you go, Brian. There's some ideas.
she's so easy to pick up as well. Like, I know Sam's just gonna pivot to it if Zen LLs. Like, this is the deck you play if you can't play Zen, right? It's just...
I think part of the things that people are missing as well is that the deck's very like easy to learn but hard to master. I mean,
yeah.
I was having a game on Talishot today where I had 2 CLVs up and I just like 2 nicks for Starfall, swung for 1. My opponent had a D-React in hand. And I just passed reactions. And then he passed reactions because he just thought he was getting one over me. I go to damage step, I activate, I play the electrostatic. I get go again in damage step and just the whole game swings because he just let me draw 2 cards and he just did not know about that interaction.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of small corner cases like that in the deck that you actually pick up over time. And particularly into the Assassins, I think that matchup's actually like nowadays, especially with Jacob Clement's list kind of running around from Kobe, I think that that list actually needs a lot of reps to kind of understand what you should be prioritizing into a good new pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
agree
we
with
just
that.
agree that it's the best deck in the format.
Best deck in format. What do you think about Enigma though? Where does Enigma sit?
I think Enigma is top of A. I think she's the second best deck in the format.
Why is that? What does she beat?
Well, I think she beats everything else if she's played well and understood well by the person piloting her. I think she's a very hard deck. I think she's kind of like Aurora, where I actually think they're very similar power levels when played to the highest level and built correctly. But I think, you know, you need your Michael Fungs or like, I'm trying to think of other Enigma pilots, I'm blanking really hard, but Nova Chan, for example, like, is a very good Enigma pilot, where there's these people who have incredibly personal lists they've built up over several seasons, and they understand the deck really well. But I think whereas Aurora, like, you can get, like, the first 80% of that deck out just by picking it up the week before the Pro Tour, for example. But I think Enigma is a deck where you kind of need to put the time and the reps in to get even the first, like, 40-50%. Like, it's just a very hard deck to play. I do think the only thing keeping her down from being the true best deck in the format is just, like, Aurora matchup is, like, not great, even when you do kind of put all these new innovations that we're talking about in.
I have not played any Enigma, so I just have no idea. So 100%.
Yeah, it's really died in Melbourne.
Yeah, like, Melbourne meta has just cooked my brain on the meta. But I think Enigma's been strong. It's always been strong. It's a mystic hero. Like, I completely agree with that. When I sit against one, I'm like, okay, we're in for a game.
Right.
Next deck new. This is,
I think it's a tough one.
This is a very, very good deck, especially with like Jacob's Clements lists topping and just like being a good new pilot. This deck will take you like a long way. I think it is good. It is good into Aurora. It's like 50-50, and it just
I think it's actually like, I think if you play it like 100 times with like the best players in the world,
yeah,
I think it would be like 80-20 to the Aurora.
Really? It's rosy.
Yeah, it's like it's I've spent a lot of time working on it with I've talked to Clements about it a little bit, and I played a few games into Xavier Xavier McLean, who's the Japanese national champion, and I think Pankaj Bhashwani in Arsenal Pass, he's also put some time into it, and I think common consensus among new pilots is that like this is the deck that you don't want to sit down with Aurora against.
Okay, interesting.
And I think the other thing is also like when you tweak the noob deck to make that Aurora matchup like better and more playable, you lose a lot of points into Enigma.
Yeah.
So I feel like you get really caught between a hard and a rock and a hard place in this meta.
Yeah. It's like you gotta choose.
Yeah, you really do have to kind of pick your outs with that deck, and I think how you kind of predict the event coming into it is definitely a big thing. I think she's either like top of B, just because Enigma and Aurora just like keep it down so much, and I feel like Florian, who we haven't talked about yet, but is like very prominent at the moment, is like a kind of a nightmare matchup for her, and I feel like now that we're seeing Florian and Enigma kind of come back into the metagame, I think she gets pushed out pretty hard.
Yeah. Alright. I reckon it's like bottom of A.
I really reckon she's like bottom of A or top of B, and it's like really close.
Yeah.
I think for this event, I would put her on top of B.
Look, if it's stopping the best deck in format, I think it's a pretty solid pick.
I think it's not though. I feel like unless like the Aurora is inexperienced, it really should be like a very good matchup for them.
If the Aurora's inexperienced.
If the Aurora is inexperienced, it should be a good matchup for them.
Yeah.
If the Aurora is very experienced, it should be like go get lunch.
Okay, damn. Okay.
Like unlimited pizza.
We'll put
Hut,
it in B.
type, yeah.
We'll put it at B.
I think top of B.
Top of B. Okay. Any new lovers out there? Complain in the comments, because.
Oh, I'm sure I'll get Neon for D-Moss next time I see him. But,
yeah, you're going to be grand slammed into the ground. Tennis reference. Okay.
Oh, 100%.
Next hero, I've heard being good. Like, people are just like, "Boy, Fang's gonna do really well this pro tour because of hidden tech that no one knows about, and he's actually got all these great matchups." I think all those people are absolutely smoking. I just don't understand what's so great about this hero. Like, the Enigma matchup is actually really good, but apart from that,
I've got to agree with you here, Spencer. I keep hearing all these rumblings about allegedly this hidden Fang deck that exists.
Yeah.
The one, the Sao Paulo
Battle Hunters. Yeah.
I keep hearing about hidden tech, but I feel like the list should have been published online by now. Oh no, it didn't win Sao Paulo. What did it win? It won something, right? It won something that weekend. I don't remember what it was, but
further proof that this deck's just not it.
Did it just not win anything? If somebody made that up as a rumor, like that would actually kind of track, honestly. Look, here's the thing. I think like the Enigma matchup's good. I couldn't tell you. I have not spent much time working on that deck. I should probably like look into it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think if the Enigma matchup's good and the Florian matchup's great, which is allegedly what I've heard from other people in the community.
Yeah.
I think it's a really like fine C tier deck. I think it's actually a good definition for C tier. It's like the decks that like are attacking something in A and B, but if you ever pair into like Aurora or like the wrong deck in A tier, you just like will never win the Pro Tour. Like,
yeah.
I think that's a good definition for C tier.
You just got to know the hidden tech that Brian Golly's on about, or just like completely know 100% what you're doing and be teched somehow for Aurora, right?
What was Brian's great tweet where he was just like, "Damn guys, you should just get better at limited." Like that's the kind of energy that Fang pilots seem to have.
I personally would simply just get better at limited.
Yeah, it's so good. That's the exact mentality I want from my game, honestly. Like that's actually like just the best mentality.
Yeah, just 6-0 draft in the Pro Tour, bro, and then just go mediocre with Fang. That's the life.
Well, I don't know what's going on.
Play Fang all day. Alright.
Here we go.
Zenny.
It's everybody's favorite My LL for this Pro Tour.
Yeah. Uh-oh. We need to talk about...
What do you think about Zen?
We need to talk about two things. What happens if Zen does LL, or if he stays? And I think he's going to stick around. Like, the chances he wins another coin is kind of... It's possible.
It's a battle hunt. Either because he's so close. It's like if he wins either of the battle hunts this weekend,
yeah,
or if he wins the ProQuest Plus at one of the battle hunts.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 events. If he wins any of those, he's gone.
Yeah. I don't know about the ProQuest. I think the LSS got that wrong because that's only like 5 points and he's on 994 or something. I don't know.
Hang on, we can work this out real quick. Like, I think it's very important for the tier. That one extra event makes a big difference. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, you're right. It is one of the battle hunts. My apologies to the viewers, but
I told you. Alright, I'm gonna cut that segment out because that's tweaking. But
what do you think about bringing Zen on the condition that he is like that he is definitely going to be legal for this event? What do you think that does to the
think it's a great pick. I think it's a great pick because, look, I know it hasn't been performing recently, but like into Florian, you just create a Zen state or something. Actually, that's a lie. I'm cutting that bit out. Into Aurora, you just create a Zen state and you just like stop a whole arc lightning turn. Like you negate a ton of damage with that. You can play wax on, wax off and just like stomp, right, and pull complete tempo. It has game into Enigma because it's a ninja, right? It can just like breakpoint, clear boards. Not amazing, but very easily. And the new matchup is actually, it is quite playable. I would say it's about like 40-60. You just got to pull off a Cosmic and it's pretty good. And then into the rest of the field, it's really solid. Yal, it's got lots of blues, etc. Right? I would say top of A. What do you think?
I think I have some hot takes about this deck.
Oh, snap.
As someone that played it a bit for the last,
Who's that?
I guess, season. What do we call it? Like in between like each tier 4. I played a bit of this deck in January at Battle Hunt Toronto and ProQuest Plus Toronto, and I kind of did a lot of work around the deck at that point. Following Nick Butcher's great victory at following AL. And I think there's like a lot of thoughts about this deck that are like very interesting. I think the problem with this deck and its matchups is ultimately it feels like the deck's almost too hard. That's kind of like how I describe it. I feel like you see some great pilots like Lucas Oswald and Nick, of course, like and Michael Yazgas, Evan Herndon. Like you see these pilots kind of like the same people kind of consistently doing well with this deck. You also see a really high adoption rate of this deck at tier 4s. And you actually see a very big fall off because you don't only have this extremely difficult to pilot deck, but on top of it, you have this really like swingy variance with your chi, where it's like, you don't see a chi for your first 4 turns against Aurora. I think your odds of winning that matchup go down a ton. Like it really goes from like, oh, I'm happy to see this sitting down to like, oh, this is unplayable. I think that's still very true against New. I think that matchup's not totally solved. I think the main problem with Zen for this Pro Tour is that all the hate that kind of gets brought in to kind of hate out Aurora in the Enigma and New decks is also the exact kind of 80 that they would want to be registering into Zen anyway. You know, you've got That's All You Got for the Kakaras, you've got Pummels and CNCs and Pummels and Weakest Links. You've got all of these cards that kind of hate out Aurora, but incidentally just completely push out Zen too. And with the Florian matchup, I can't really speak about it because I don't know that much about it. Like it just wasn't really a thing I was thinking about in January. But nowadays, I would say I can't imagine it being that great. Like I feel like you'd have to have very quick, aggressive like lines to kind of get enough damage through, and even then they've still got the defensive capability to kind of grind you out over the course of the game. So you know, if it's a bad matchup for Florian, I could believe Zen is like more reasonable, but at the moment I think he gets hated out by New and Enigma a little too much. But I think the thing is the deck's just so powerful. I feel like you're right with A tier. I feel like it's definitely still just got the potential with the right pilot to kind of take down the Pro Tour, but I think I'd have to put it at the bottom of A.
Yeah, I agree. After a few things that you said with your wisdom and knowledge, I do agree. I reckon bottom of A is correct. I was gonna say some other stuff, but I literally forgot. So we're gonna move on to the next hero. Huh? Marionette? What do we think?
That's what that is. The image is funny, but yeah.
Aurora below.
Betsy tier. Betsy's winning the Pro Tour, guys. Nando will come out of nowhere and win the Pro Tour on Betsy. That's my last minute prediction.
Yeah. Betsy. Alright, sick.
The worst part is, I think Betsy would actually like maybe like a C tier choice for this Pro Tour.
Nah, shut up, bro. Don't say that.
No, let's talk about Betsy real quick.
Okay.
I actually think that she is a deck in this format.
Why?
I think like against inexperienced Auroras, she's actually like kind of a solid fatigue deck. Where she has like she's kind of functions like a new deck where like you're just blocking out most of the game and then you're just like presenting disruption when you can, and kind of, you know, you got this twofold access of like because of Pummel where like you're either forcing down the game very quickly because you're just presenting disruption plus damage on hits that the Aurora doesn't really want to block because they want to keep setting up. You just get a bunch of free damage that way. Or you go the full CYB fatigue route. And I think a lot of Auroras who don't know how to like consistently chain turns and kind of play into that kind of list can kind of struggle into that, especially if they're not running Exude Confidence. I think she is terrible into Enigma and probably knew and probably is that. You know what? That season Betsy tier. We don't need to define that.
Are you done talking?
Yeah, you're right. I talked myself into realizing the deck is still bad. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yep. Alright. Alright.
Oh wait, we still have to finish Marionette, right?
Oh yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
Chatting about
what do you think about Marionette? You've probably played into more Marionettes at rated events than I have.
I have played into a fair few Marionettes, and I think the deck's not consistent enough. It's got like trouble marking the opponent and then like keeping them marked, and you just don't get enough like value. Just like if you want to play an assassin, like play new, bro. I
feel like everything you said, it like makes perfect sense. It's like, why not just play new instead, or Slippy even?
Yeah,
I think Slippy is a very like interesting deck in this metagame that kind of does what Mario is trying to do, but better. Like it's just you've got more consistent go again, you've more consistent hands because of that go again. Like you kind of understand what's going on better than the Mario deck, which is kind of trying to force these marks throughout the game. Which, like, most people kind of, you know, if they respect it properly with shelters and stuff in their board, like, it's the same thing as Syndra, you know what's going on. And short of you hitting those toxicity, crazy turns, like, what are you doing?
Heretic.
Yeah.
Someone,
I feel like we should... Like,
someone joined, and my camera is set up so that it's on Discord. Uh-oh, someone's putting their camera on. Chat. Alright, he's in the video, what's up?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
We're filming the boosting Spendog.
The boosting Spendog tier list video. Do you want to join?
I was this week's surprise guest. I'm here.
Oh my god.
Do you want to join?
Welcome.
I agree with everything you said about Assassin. Keep going. No, I'm here for this. I'm here. This is hello everybody. I'm the special surprise guest. I don't know if you saw this coming, but nobody else did. So let's go on next. What's the next hero?
Alright, wait. We have to place
We're probably we gotta place this.
Where's Arachne going?
I honestly
just see, right?
Yeah, like, I think so. I think he has like really strong matchups into like very specific heroes where if he not draws, he goes crazy. But like,
absolutely, he doesn't have enough fucking what's it called to get your dagger back? He doesn't have enough recall.
Yeah, the retrieve is just so bad. Like, because they printed for it, other than upsticks, is like
ass.
Really bad, and upsticks is like kind of like unplayable in my opinion at the moment.
Yeah.
The problem with Mario is he's too busy trying to like, does he go offensive or does he go defensive? And he definitely can't do both at once, and you kind of have to pick.
Yeah.
And I think if you sit down against like, you know, Enigma or maybe like Zen or something, like going really offensive is great. But then if you sit down against like Aurora and you're just in a race match, except they're Aurora and you're not, you kind of lose.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a value deck, but it loses to the better value decks in the format because it's just way less consistent.
Yeah.
It like sums up the deck pretty heavily in my opinion.
Alright. I'm gonna go to the next hero. Yo, there's someone else in the voice chat who my god, it's Dylan Thompson. Dylan Thompson, turn your mic on. Get your camera on.
Team AVC massively.
We're in the team.
You at work?
I just left work.
Oh my god.
Zen Enigma best deck. Pretty good play.
Oh,
okay.
He's alright.
Thanks, Dylan.
He's alright. I think.
Oh, hang on.
Talk about y'all next.
Wait. Shout out Matt W, and shout out that guy who sent me null time zone cards. Let me find his name on Twitter real quick. I think his name's like Dennis or something. I promise all these people shout outs.
Dennis Zhang?
Not Dennis Zhang.
Different Dennises?
That guy's freaky, bro. Don't you know? Declan Bradley. Shout out Declan Bradley. Okay, anyway.
Declan Bradley is goated. Right.
Chatting about Jarl right now. I think Jarl is a very, very like real deck right now. Very well positioned. it has the disruption, and it pulls through. It's a great deck into Aurora. I don't know about the rest of the field, but man, someone get Roger Bodie in here.
I think that was a really weird one because it's like it just has a bunch. It's like this weird deck that like theoretically should be good into like all these great decks, but in practice, I just never see it pay off. Like there was Battle Hun Sao Paulo, which is, you know, that's a medium-sized event because like all the good players from that event were still playing the calling at that stage. I don't know if that's like reflective of actual data. And then there was a Battle Hun and was it Barcelona? Yeah, it was Barcelona that like somebody beat Arthur Trahe on Verdance in the finals on Yell, and that's kind of all we've ever heard about the deck since its release. I do think it has a very good new matchup when it's built properly. I think it has a really bad Zen matchup. Amazing Syndra matchup, obviously. And I think it has a Florian matchup. I don't know if I'd describe it as good. And I'd say a lot of Aurora decks would really struggle into Jarl, and particularly some of the disruption it kind of presents. Particularly more the Haydendale Frostfang kind of builds.
Yeah.
I think those decks are actually very, very good into some builds of Aurora.
Yeah, those lists are freaky. Vero, what do you think?
About Jarl, so my thing with Jarl's kind of the same thing as Mario. There's like a fake Jarl deck and a real Jarl deck. So if you play fake Jarl with like 71 cards, like Heart of Ice, you know, Fiendel's Heart of Fiendel, and like literally a bunch of cards that do nothing, you just have like 6 buys. The problem with that deck is you also have like 6 matchups where they get a buy, like you said, Zen, buy, Enigma, buy. You build a deck like that, you could probably be new. You build a deck like that, you can maybe beat Florian. The cool part about a deck like that is you can actually like beat Kano and stuff. You just sit down with 71 cards, Heart of Ice, AB3, but they try to like make a fake pitch stack, and then they get there and they have a tunic left and no equipment because you just crumble it all to death and they lose.
Yeah.
So it's like really funny. But then you can play like a real deck, like something like Hamilton brought. Like you're actually playing Oakenhold and trying to fuse it. You're playing Frostfangs, Pummels, Tempo, Tunic. And that deck has like less buys, but maybe a more rounded matchup spread. But I don't even know if that's where you want to be in a tournament. Like sometimes you just want to sit down and be like, I'm playing this degenerate deck. And if I see 3 decks in my first 8 rounds only, like I'll just be 8-0 or something. And then if you don't, you just, you know, go get your prize wall tickets and, you know, little sink belows and you move on, right?
Do you think the moment that when people started taking the deck seriously was when Michael kind of pulled this list with Redwood Hammer on stream, and it's just like everyone kind of went collectively like turned their ears and went,
What?
oh, maybe there's something there.
Yeah.
And I do think the Pummel deck is like interesting because honestly, this is like a little bit of a theme at this point, but I think good Auroras will have like the full Flicker Whiffs 3-piece combo kind of set up, and like as soon as that combo gets set up, it doesn't matter how like good at gaining life or like how slowing down like your deck kind of is. You just kind of do die, and that Yell deck, the first one that we were kind of talking about, the CYB build, it does just kind of die after a little while. Like it does not present enough pressure or disruption to stop them from going crazy like that. So yeah, I think reactive Yell, that kind of PYB build, I think I'd put that in the don't play build, like type tier list, and then I'd put real Yell kind of like middle of B.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I would put y'all probably in the middle of B. I have no further thoughts.
An interesting evolution of like Yall recently has kind of been how they've kind of been perfecting the new matchup and how they've kind of managed to balance changing their blues to kind of just not really have the Victor problem of like you get paired into a new and you're like, oh man, what am I doing with my life? Like
here's the real trick: you actually play yellows. People don't realize this. You play yellow Boulder Drop, yellow Fruits of the Forest,
Righteous
I mean,
Cleansing.
Righteous cleansing?
Like I've been in new games where we're both on 9 cards and I have 9 yellows and they have 9 cheese, and guess who's winning every time, boy? That's me. Swinging for 6.
Dude, you beat Prism. You beat
I was
Prism.
talking about local Yall, and
Somebody gets
it. Like you Righteous Cleansing, and then they have nothing but chi left in their deck. You strip 4 chi out of that deck, and they're like, oh man. Then you Remembrance it back. You swing another Righteous Cleansing, That's the whole
We call
deck is
this
gone.
we call this knowers versus unknowers, and sometimes you got to be a knower. That's knowers territory right there.
So peak.
It's
so
right in the
good.
middle of B.
We have to talk about the flower boy next.
The flower boy next. Wait, one
The goth.
one
goth
second.
mulch boy.
1 second. We got Taylor Crawford. Do you want to join the video,
Our
Taylor?
other surprise guest for the week. Holy.
Yeah, our other surprise
Oh
guest
my
for the
God.
video.
That's gonna
Everybody,
come-
do not turn on light mode if you're here. He's gonna turn on his camera. Don't turn on light mode. You may never see again. Taylor, what do you got for us this week?
Nothing. I'm at the gym. Just here to chill.
Okay.
What a loser.
Yeah.
Like, right, guy
Comes to
working
the
out
guys.
before London. Like, who's he impressing at London? Like the guards that, like, you know, they do the queen thing. Who are you
Yeah.
impressing, Taylor?
You're gonna. This
Guys,
is in the
we're-
video.
We're going to Greenwich. Like, there's no one to impress in Greenwich.
Yeah, who are you impressing over there? There's no golf in the UK.
What do we think of
Billy
Florian?
Joel Armstrong.
Billy Joel Armstrong, personally, I think that Florian is like, I don't know how to say it, Gyat or something.
You're trying to say he's caked up?
He's caked up. He just creates rune chants like there's no tomorrow. He does a 1-card 5 in the end game, and when he draws, like, if he sees all 3 of his failings, like, his win rate just goes up like crazy. If he sees like power cards late game, like Germinate, or the one that creates a rune chant, which is like 0 for 5, go again, right? Like that stuff, it's just like nutso. And if you get to that point and you're a value deck, you just get outvalued and just like snap lose, right?
I do think.
Yeah.
You make a lot of good points. I think like the big thing is like the felling, like how many you see and how many you decompose for 8 instead of 4.
Yeah.
To how many games you win. I feel like there's a very strong correlation between those two things. Same with Plow Under and how many arsenals you hit, because as soon as your opponent channel Lightning Valleys in response, you just kind of go, oh man, I'm not winning this game. Like,
I'm gonna go a
man.
different direction. I actually think the more Seeds of Tomorrow, Runic Reclamation, the 3 for 7, especially against Aurora,
Oh, yeah.
and trees that you resolve in a game, actually, like in the matchups that matter the most, I think that is what decides a lot of those games. Like if you get an early tree
Yeah.
against like Aurora and you're able to do stuff in certain matches, you just like, because how I look at Florian, he's kind of like Icelander, right? In a way where you're just trying to walk your opponent down with you until you can do your broken thing. Like if you're 20 points behind, you can do your broken thing 3 turns in a row and you're still gonna lose. So all these turns that you can like keep the clock close against, especially like Aurora, Zen is another good example, and then you can start doing your broken thing when the game matters. That's where like you really like turn heads, because against Zen, he's gonna damage you, probably outrace you, and just sit back on 3 cosmics, and you're gonna lose. He can give you 4 cards, you can germinate to 10 and get 7 rune chants, and then he just throws 20 at you and you lose. Same thing for Aurora. If you like let them get close, then you start doing your thing, they're just gonna flicker and do a turn. So I think actually those cards, the Runic Reclamation was very good tech from the Japanese player, if I'm not mistaken. Very old, boring card, but it's just 3 for 7. They can never block it. You take out a CLG, that clock starts coming closer and closer. You're doing the walk down thing.
Exactly.
back in my day, we played Runic Reclamation in Chain, and we gave it go again to hit our opponent's Soul Shackles. And that was the best timeline. Honestly, I miss that card a lot.
That's
but
crazy.
I do think it is good tech.
Dude, it's great tech.
I think you made a lot of good points there. I think the modern builds of Florian are really interesting because I think we've seen a little bit of an evolution in the last few months since Worlds. I mean, at Worlds, people are very low on Florian, and I think very rightly so. I think in a metagame where CYB Enigma exists, that can't exist, and you know, it just can't deal enough pressure to kind of get over those. But nowadays, where CYB is a bit rained, yeah, like we have like the new matchup is like I'd honestly say like I'll get hate from every new player for saying this. I'm yet to see a Florian player lose to a new player in that matchup, so I feel like the matchup just isn't that good there. And then I think on top of that, I think like Florian is very favored into. I'm still not convinced it's not favored into Zen, but like, scream at me in the comments if I'm completely wrong about that.
You think Florian's not favored into Zen? Why do you think that?
No, I think it is favored into Zen.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Why
that's
do you
my
think that?
unpopular
I think Zen should very rarely lose to that deck. That's why I'm very curious why you think it's good into Zen.
I just don't see it. Like I played a good amount of the current Zen iterations. Like they've changed a little bit. You know, you've got like some innovation going on with stuff like put in context and another thing I've noticed is people cutting wax on, wax off, but that's a whole different conversation. I don't see how Zen kind of applies enough pressure. It's weird. It's like Florian's the stack where you want to get to the middle game. That's where you're the strongest, where you've still got enough life that you can take damage to kind of claw back your powerful effects like felling, big hand plays with CMH, etc. in some builds. Tree's obviously a card that's very good, but you need big hands to kind of actually get value from it. And Zen's kind of this deck where you're really good in the early game, if you see your chi quickly, but then your power kind of stays at a line, right? You kind of stay at that level of damage for a really long time. But then in the late game, the very real late game, like the actual fatigue game, you have Cosmic Awakening as this way to kind of go hugely up and keep your damage deck in counter, like, consistent. My problem is, like, Florian, you get to that middle game, Florian's, like, living its best life. But I don't necessarily know if you translate to that end game.
Have you not seen the
my
tech
thing
the
with the
Zens are
Florian
playing?
is like, yeah, you get to the mid game maybe, and you do your thing. But a lot of the time, the problem with Florian is you have a really hard time doing damage. So you like felling me, and I like bottom some like random card, and I just like block 6 and send 2. Like, okay, I'm a little lower. I think Zen could do a bunch of consistent turns, especially with Tiger Eye Reflex. He does just random chi turns because he's never really pressured, because it's really hard for Florian to convert 5 cards. And then if you just use your Preserve Tradition like correctly, like it's really hard to be 4 Cosmics. Like they don't even have to all come in for 20, even if they come in for like 15.
Yeah,
100%.
100%. I agree if you get to that like end game where you've got multiple Cosmics going through, I don't think the Florian should ever win.
I just don't know how Florian pressures you enough for you to like like to get your life total very low. Like unless you just have like a double chi hand and you have to take the full 8 from the felling. Like sometimes you just block 6 and send 2. They give you some crappy canopy shelter. They stare at you, make a rune chant, and swing a sword like half their turns. Like it's really hard for them to convert big hands.
I do know that that's like Cody Williams' favorite tagline is, "What if you just block 8 on the felling?" Like it's a good point. Like, like I think the only reason that felling's so effective against Aurora is because you draw the hands that aren't block 8 against the felling, and then you just get stuck.
Yeah, they could have 4 blocking cards in them, and they still don't block 8. Like
yeah, it's actually like that, and it's definitely like, I don't know. I think I'm not experienced enough. I think I'll put my head up and say that I should know more about that matchup than I do.
My opinion is I think Zen has a really good matchup into that Earth guy, but the next Earth girl we'll talk about, I think Zen is a big dog into Verdansk, but I won't get too far ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
I think Florian is like, even with all this, I think we can comfortably put him in like middle of A. Oh, that's the one big matchup I wanted to talk about. The Enigma matchup with Florian is very contentious. I don't know where I sit on the fence with that one.
You need lots of go again, and you
Comes
have
down
like
to,
trouble
I
and
think,
shit.
what the Enigma presents in its AB, I think is super important and really decides that matchup.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
that
agree
makes
with
sense because using tree to force down things is very important.
Tree's crazy for just pushing damage. Also, if you're in the voice chat, you're being filmed. Say whatever you want, but not too much. Okay.
Am I right?
All right, Acilio.
Very good hero.
I think he's very good.
Aurora is that good.
He might be the best deck in
He's not,
format.
he's not beating.
Put Aurora
He's
down,
not
put
beating-
Acilio above.
Yes.
Put Aurora in top of A, put Acilio in top.
Let's move them all down.
I think Acilio is the second best B tier hero. And I'm not trolling. I'm being so.
Now you're not trolling?
I think you might.
No.
actually
I'm
be right.
being super
Like,
serious.
I'm looking at this chart, and like it shouldn't be that way. It doesn't make sense. There is. What's that line from the B movie where he's like, "There is no rational way that a bee should be able to fly with that body weight," and yet it still does.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
I
reckon?
just want to go through all the top decks. Has anybody like truly played Acilio? If you've played Acilio Aurora,
Yeah, I have.
Acilio Enigma, Acilio
I've played a lot
Zen,
of that
and
matchup.
Acilio Florian, based off this current chart, those are like 4 fine to good matchups.
Yeah, I've played a lot of Acilio Aurora just because like personal curiosity and kind of interest in lightning archetypes. That matchup is like actually like very swingy and like
Yes.
I'd go as far as saying 45-55 like just to the Aurora, just barely. I think that deck's more consistent, so you get better rolls overall in like a short game.
Sure.
But I think that like it's very winnable for the Auxilia, especially if they don't pack shock charmers. I think that whole matchup changes based on shock charmers or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like that one mind warp that they get off for like 9, and like the one that they get off of like 3 or 4 or whatever, that you just get the free stop with shock charmers. That's like the whole difference in the game right there.
Yeah, like Auxilia's very Azalea-like. Like sometimes games just end one way or the other. You just always win or you always lose, and that's just like a thing, and there's nothing you can really do about it.
Yeah.
But when you have a really good pilot on Auxilia, or even Azalea for that example, I think the deck gets a lot better into a lot of matchups. Auxilia just straight loses to like every assassin. That's his one negative. He just like he cannot.
He does not block.
Unless he gets Giga Luck.
You hit
Unless he gets
cooked.
Giga Luck, auto loses to every assassin. Pick the worst one, he probably still loses to it.
If you want to luck your way to the top, just play Acilio, is what I'm hearing. Just be better lucky than good.
It's a good
If you
casino.
saw Enigma, Zen, Aurora, like all the Pro Tour, assuming Zen's like legal, and you see your occasional Earth hero,
Yeah.
I think you could easily go like 7-1 with Acilio or something.
I think Florian's reasonable as well. I think like that matchup, like having played a lot of it from the Aurora side, I feel like it's a lot like the Aurora deck, but instead of getting like Flicker Wisp combo, you can just play a Mind Warp for like 9 or 10 at the end of the chain, and your opponent just can't interact with it.
Dude, that's three.
Like,
Auxilia
three
belongs
triggers.
in like the war crime tier, where like he just can do things that shouldn't be allowed.
Betsy
I feel like
tier.
that's what B tier is. B tier is unironically like decks that like they get paired into some decks that they can't win a single game. They get paired into other decks. The other deck is having like the worst time of their life.
B stands for I better see these heroes, and that's what it stands for. I better not see these.
Dude, I better
And
see
that's
these
what
on
B stands
stream, otherwise I'm gonna be bored. I'm gonna be bored out of my brain.
Yeah.
Alright, oh shit. Verdance.
Uh,
Oh man. Alright, I'm gonna give my take on Verdance. If you can attack with failing 3 times, it's a good hero. And then if you can OTK combo someone with your cool pitch stack and 3 E-pods, then I guess well done, you did good. But if you just lose before that because you don't have hero text, that's your fault. Someone else talk.
I'd like
So
to put a
Verdance will
caveat
suffer
on
from
this
the
here.
Zen LL. If Zen LLs, Verdance will suffer a lot, because that's like a really, really good matchup for Verdance. I can say that much.
Yeah.
I'd like to put a massive caveat on this hero.
What
I
does
think she's
caveat
like
mean?
Caveat,
conditional.
is that something to do with? Is that something to do with feet? What is a caveat?
What's a caveat?
Feet thing?
Yeah, but like I think like it's like top of beer tier in reality. But
Yeah.
if I'm playing against Sable and I'm playing Aurora,
Yeah.
she's the best deck in the format, and I don't understand what's happening. I don't know why. I've tested it into other verdances. I found it like completely fine. Like I've actually found the matchup fairly favored for Aurora. I play into Sable, and I'm just like
Losing.
I don't understand what I'm doing wrong or I'm doing differently. So this matchup is actually like abysmal.
I think Verdance is a low B tier. I think Verdance is a low B tier hero.
I think it's top
Very
of
solid
C.
choice if you're a good hero.
You reckon like
C,
it's like it's playable? Like it's actually like a pick that you pick for London? You reckon
I
you
think
see
so,
someone? Yeah? Where would you put it?
I'd put money on Trahay being on it, to be honest. I'd put like good money.
I would put it
Margin base on
above Syndra. I'd put it above Syndra for sure.
it. Above Syndra.
I think I'd agree
Yeah.
with that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think like you could even put her above Jarl because she just has like better matchups into some of the better decks.
Like the more we talk about heroes and start like putting them out through all the tiers, you start realizing how much of a viable roster there is. And when 30 to 40% of that viable roster can just be like really good matchups to buys in you, like we've seen crazier things happen. Like as much as everybody likes to pretend you're gonna sit down and go to London and play 9 Auroras every round because it's gonna be 30% of the meta, that's just like not how it works, right? I think we've seen it like time and time again. Like you will play a lot of random things, and Verdance will just have like buys or like really good matchups into some of these like decks. Like you just,
I think-
sometimes you just sit down and play a Jarl or play a Florian or play a Syndra or play, it just happens.
Yeah.
Now if you see Enigma and Prism, yeah, you're just 0-7 and you suck.
I think you make a really good point there where like I think we talk about decks like everyone in the community talks about decks in a very like binary way of like what they see is like the truth and like the objective truth, and whoever plays it completely correct in their opinion should always win. But there's like a secondary, like I've definitely said that like 5 times in this video, but like on a secondary level there is a level of like people are going to bring these decks, they are going to make mistakes. Those people are not going to convert to Dave 2 very well, and I think Pro Tour is kind of the best environment for that, and it's very much the environment where that gets seen. Like, I think the Aurora conversion rate to day 2, like, there's going to be a lot in day 1. I don't actually know how many there'll be in day 2 because people will miss those points. People will switch onto the deck last minute because, you know, they just can't work out a way to beat the deck. Like, people will waste testing time on draft. How much of a waste that is, you know, technical, but like,
Excuse me, go on.
okay, but if you spend like a week on CC, which is 9 rounds of the tournament, and then you spend 4 months on draft, you are gonna suffer.
Well, who the heck spends
also,
one week on CC?
The opposite is also completely true, which is exactly why I'm gonna 06 draft. But like, I do think that like, you make a really good point where the decks that are gonna convert to day 2 make a huge difference on what is actually gonna top 8 and win this Pro Tour.
I will say this: nobody's ever top 8 at a tournament with a bad draft record. I've seen plenty of people top 8 with like 5-3 middling CC records.
That is, yes, that is 100% true. Like, it's, I think the people who can 5-1 and 6-0 draft, you know, your Hamiltons, your Shings, your Puddings, your Sam Sutherlands.
Your me's. Yeah, your me's. I do that too. Don't
Yeah. Like, those are the people who end up winning tournaments.
No, that I'll never do. But the other thing I'll do.
Kasai.
Is there a tier below Betsy tier?
Nah, it is, but it's the don't play tier.
I think she might actually be C tier.
Nah.
Like, she has specific, really specific good matchups in the metagame, but those decks are not the best deck and will not have a high enough metagame percentage share that you will be able to day 2 with it. But yeah, I think you're right.
Kasai has one of the best macros in the game, macro game plans that is. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some weird rogue Kasai switchboard gimmicky thing similar to like the Dory at LA. Granted, that was less a gimmick and more a good deck with the Dawn Blades switching into, you know, Dromai with the poppers. That I could see a crazy Kasai deck. I don't think it's good. I just think there could be a crazy Kasai deck that if it sees a certain part of the meta could do good. But I don't know what it is.
I think unless you're that guy, you're just that guy. Like, you just have that aura.
Right.
Like, it's just a don't play deck. I think that's maybe where it should be.
It's a don't play deck.
If you're playing Kasai to swing for 9 and block for 7 every turn, yeah, don't play it, because that ain't gonna work.
I'm just gonna put a bunch of decks in don't play because we don't have time to talk about all these nonsense looking decks.
Yeah.
Riptide is not don't play. Don't you dare put Riptide in no play.
Put Riptide in like Riptide tier. Like,
Why is Dromai on this list, bro?
why is Icelander on this list? I've been like noticing this for like the last hour.
Well, now we need a can't play. Now we need a can't play tier.
Now we need.
Ira's definitely in like C tier, I think.
Okay, wait, time out. If Zen gets banned
Yeah.
and they unban Bonds, where do we put Katsu?
Oh fuck, like S tier, I think. Like, I actually think that's
Emergency
actually
unban
No,
S tier.
no. He is top of B with a bonds unbanned.
I think he goes to A purely because of the fact that I think he's super favored into Enigma and Aurora.
Nah, I played Katsu. He was bad with bombs. He's bad now. Like, he was bad with bombs
Yeah.
in Art of War.
Alright,
Like,
okay, I'll give that a better experience.
Without Art of War, he's got 2 armor, and if you throw CNC at him, he folds like a cheap fucking suit. So there's no point.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, okay, I kind of forgot about Art of War just getting completely deleted from the game. And
Wait, they
everyone found out it's dead.
they deleted Art of War?
Spencer, you know you had 20 copies and then they went down to like $10.
Nah.
Yeah.
Don't
then you have
do
to think,
not
though,
tell me about that.
Whoa,
Aurora?
SEC, if you're listening, we're not talking about stocks. Stop it.
But then you have to think though, like Aurora
Bitcoin's
has
going
like
up,
17
guys.
armor. So if you go like surging, she just block with full armor, and you just fucked yourself. Right there. And you're like, okay, cool, pass
I
turn,
thought
and then she's
every
like
Aurora
25
is
damage.
playing. Isn't every Aurora playing Crown of Dominion and Aether Ironweave? I don't think they can block, guys. I think that's all they play.
With Truth King.
Yeah,
Truth King.
Aurora can't block, guys. That can't block. Like, just play
plays-
weakest
it has
thing.
like it has like 2 armor, man. It has the chest and like the gloves.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
It has 200 like instants. You might as well play like. You might as well just play 3 weakest link in every deck. Like, that's a good strategy. Eugene tier is so real. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like, that's the thing. Like, people are doing weird stuff into Aurora, just like assuming she can't block. Like, you guys read Somersault? That card's insane.
That card is insane. And you've got like sigils, sigil of sufferings,
Is
and
that card good? I thought it just lets you do 4 damage again.
No.
No, that card says 6.
That card says
six
block
in the
6.
bottom right
You
corner.
just throw 4 damage, and then it flicks it back to your hand, and you throw 4 again. I think that's all the card does.
Do you know
Yeah,
what flicker
if your
check
opponent
does?
doesn't attack you, that's exactly what the card does. Like, Somersault is restricted in LL. Do you know how good a card has to be for that to happen?
Yeah. All right.
Alright,
We're
let's
gonna
get back on track.
talk about Prism. Now, if there was
I need a
only
Dylan Thompson opinion.
if there was only like a Prism mastermind here to talk about the deck,
I'm on public transport.
I'm gonna turn you up,
Dylan's gonna get
Dylan.
arrested for
Dylan.
public disturbance just to justify Prism being good for this program.
Okay, like, if you take your average Prism, like, here's what I've learned. Everyone I play into says they're, like, 10-0 into their local Prism. Newsflash, your local Prism is bad. Like, I think there's, like, few people who actually, like, put in the time with this deck who actually have the ability to be good at it. And that's not saying that it's, like,
Name
a hard
5.
deck
Name
to
5
play.
right now. Name 5 right now. I want to know 5 good.
that are,
Prism
that are
players.
good.
Yeah.
Fable,
He's just gonna say Dylan Thompson 5 times.
Fable, Dylan Thompson, Sam Sutherland, Rob Catton, and I forgot the name. They won a battle hard.
me,
Oh, Kevin?
Spencer
Kevin
Horton.
Murphy?
Yeah, like
Wow, and you
No,
didn't
like-
name Austin Reddington? I can't believe you.
Oh my god.
sorry. No, but no. If you're good at Prism, the hero's like middle of A, and if you get good pairings, you can be in a really good spot. I think you're just the average Prism. It's like mid B. Like that's my
I think
honest
it's
opinion.
weird. I think it might be in C. Like, for like
Nah,
the,
you're
the
just wrong.
The average Prism.
Oh, the average. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the real
If it's
litmus
me,
test.
it's
How do you
just me.
feel about Prism into Enigma?
No comment.
That deck has like 900 points.
Oh, I got somebody has those things. They have the tech for the matchup. Oh no!
It's like, let's be real. I feel like it's reasonable to assume Aurora most represented deck, and I feel like I genuinely think it would be second most represented.
No. Prism Enigma, if you know what you're doing, is like a 45-55, like in the Enigma's favor. But like the matchup just feels swinging all the time. Like whenever you win it or lose it, you're like full health.
How do you
Talk
feel
about
the
the
fact that
Warriors.
Enigma? How do you feel about the fact that Enigma's doing like the Guardian cosplay with like 18 poppers? Does that make you feel worse or better?
And that's been on 18 poppers. I think they're on like 6.
Hang on. I'm gonna pull up Michael Feng's deck from the Battle Hunt.
Like Florin's list was on 5.
Yeah, I want to get like a stat count on this because it is very
Also-
important information.
Like poppers don't beat Prism. That's just how like bad players think they beat Prism.
In a regular deck, I'd agree. Yeah.
It's Florin's
You have
list.
so many ways to get around poppers, right? Like,
Yeah, and Enigma does make it harder. Like, I think if you go second and you draw like your Red Heavens or like well-timed triumphs and center, you can do pretty well.
yeah.
I'm not saying it's favored. I don't think it's good either, but it's just like, you know,
Yeah, I would like-
if you can beat one on the day, you're in a good spot.
I'd like to take bets on how many poppers we think are in the current best result for an Enigma deck.
Florin definitely has like 5 or 6.
It's probably CNC weakest link, and occasionally they might play like something weird, but it's probably just 6.
I have we have a Dylan Thompson on the money at 5 with our weekly
Let's go.
weekly popper report.
That's because I play Prism and I have to memorize that shit.
Yeah, like I think the real reason not to play Prism is because the Aurora matchup has gone from like extremely favored for the Prism.
So
No, you're
I think that matchup's like
You're
even or like favored for the Aurora.
It's favored for Prism. If you go second, it's super favored.
You
Yeah.
huff enough good
Okay.
I-
favored for
Actually,
the
Jake. My Prism, it's favored. But your average shitty Prism build,
We're
it's
getting some
Didn't we
interference. I think he's going through a tunnel right now. We're getting
Yeah,
some interference.
No, and we tested this, and I don't think it ended positively for you.
Yeah, because you put like 9 reactions and 6 poppers in your deck and
That's
lightning
just what
strikes.
the deck does. That's just my list.
No. No, you just said like, damn, I lost 3 games in a row or something. I'm gonna make my deck anti-prism, and then every
I
game
lost
ended
one
1-1
game,
anyway.
switched out my CL.
You didn't lose
Oh my
one game.
God.
You didn't lose one game.
Again.
You lost 2.
Broadcast. We're going through a tunnel. We're getting some interference. I think we're on KO.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on anymore. Like, it's a bit cool.
But just put prism at the bottom of A or the top of B.
Alright, it's going top of B. Because you gotta know what you're doing, but don't bring it if you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Bing bong.
We're in the baddie.
Don't play KO.
Prism expert out.
Victor?
KO is the same as every other like value deck, but just worse.
Yeah.
I think Victor's an interesting deck.
Victor's interesting because the format just completely flips. I think it's when Zen leaves? Oh no, when Nu leaves, all the Guardians get to come back in and play, right?
I think it's a
But
C tier deck where like it's got really good game into like all the decks
No,
that
it's not a
aren't
C
the
tier
best
deck.
that aren't the best 4 decks.
You're hating on Victor, I think, right now. Why? Like, I think it has a
Victor's
good
good.
Aurora matchup, a good Zen matchup. It literally has a buy into Jarl. It destroys Syndra. It like beats up on Fang. Its bad matchups are Enigma, obviously.
I think
Florian.
it's unfavored into Auroras that are practiced into that matchup. Like the ones that know how to hold their somersaults for the spinals, like those are the people that deck suffers into.
If you're worried about Spinal, I don't know. I don't think that's the thing you should be worried about.
Like Spinal is the card in that matchup that you can control. Like you can't control a test of strength. It just happens.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like I think the way that you beat that deck is
I think
you.
Victor's slightly favored into Aurora. I don't think it's by much, but I also think there's a lot of non-games if your clashes just line up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is the one thing with that deck. Like, do you want to bring it to a tournament where there's 9 rounds, and if
If Zen is still around, I think it kind of dog walks Zen for the most part. There's some like weird strategies. You could block out a bunch, try to IP them on block cards, yada yada yada. It's not always the most consistent plan. I know Cody talks about that one a lot. I think it literally has a buy into Jarl or any type of fatigue deck because you just like play Goldmane Estate a bunch of times.
they play like better blues than like any other deck. Like I think that is like very much true. Like how do you?
I think it's
like the 7 and 8
low
on bottom
B
line
tier
of all their blues. It's crazy.
I think it's a low B tier deck. But if you see Enigma, I think you ought to lose. But I don't know
Yeah.
how Prism beats that deck. I don't think Prism can beat.
Oh,
it.
I think Florian's like the real.
It's a rough.
Florian and
Florian's
Enigma
rough.
are both like. Yeah, I feel like it's a C tier deck because it has a good matchup into all the B and C tier decks, but it has like bad matchups in Florian, Enigma, and Nu some of the time. But I think C's kind of the tier for that kind of hero, right? I don't want to talk about Ripped.
Deck. No, it's a good deck. I think of the top 4 decks, I think it's favored into 3 of them.
What? Sorry. Are we talking about a different hero? I'm very confused.
No, Riptide's favored into those matchups.
That's true. It's
It
true.
dog walks like almost every assassin as well, by the way.
True.
I do agree with that part. That part is very true. I agree with that.
Green Man isn't as bad as people
it's
think.
ostensibly bad matchups. Prism, it's generally pretty bad. Jarl, if they're not a, or any Guardian for that matter, if they're not a moron, like you should probably win pretty handedly. Syndra is also Syndra, I think is really easy for Riptide. I think Aurora is favored for Riptide, but there are a lot of draws that you can get blown out. Things like Exude Confidence can add a lot of swinginess to the matchup and make the Riptide
Like,
really lose on the spot.
We're talking about for this Pro Tour, where every Aurora is on 3 Exude and like full Flicker.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they have to see
that
it.
is the nightmare scenario
Yes.
for a Riptide.
They have to see it, and it has to like work well. Like they have things for 4 and 5 to block it, and like do whatever.
Who would the
But
pieces
yeah,
start on board? What do you mean?
If there are like a Riptide or 2 at the top tables, I would not be surprised at all.
No, I'm just saying, like,
I think
sometimes you
it's
block sometimes you just block the Exude, and then, like, you move on, like, and you can still catch your things. Like, they have E-Strikes in their deck, they have a bunch of arrows that block for 5. Dreadbore. Yeah. Yeah, it shuts off a few things, yeah. Because Riptide doesn't actually need to use its bow. It's just there, you know? So.
I can't tell if this is bait or not. I can't tell.
No, I'm being so serious.
It's not.
We're so
Riptide's
deep in the
problem.
source, I don't know.
Riptide's
You know what?
problem.
Riptide and
Riptide's
S.
problem. No,
Put
it's
Riptide
not S tier. But Riptide's problem is against Enigma, when they do their turn, if your hand just doesn't work, you bricked up, you got too many pumps, you know, too many arrows, you can just lose 1000%. If you like in any random matchup, you can have full tempo and draw a brick, and that can sometimes lose you a game. And then against Guardians, it's really hard. But if you just see a bunch of assassins, Zen, Aurora to a degree, it can be all right. You see Prisms, you see Guardians, it can be a bit rough. You see probably like Acilio's a weird one because you have to like try to side out all your D-reacts and try to just kill them, you know, so it's weird. I think it's like a somewhere in the B tier deck. I think it has, and it also has like the nobody knows how to play against the factor.
Absolutely.
You can't play around like 6 1-ofs, you know? You can't play around
Easy.
6 1-ofs in the deck, like it's just impossible.
It's like top of B tier, easy.
Lapsing track is real annoying.
Yeah.
Tar Pit
God,
Trap
it's-
is really good. It shuts off Burn Up Shock for the turn, it shuts off CLV for the turn. It does all that stuff, which is pretty good.
I don't actually know if that off shock works that way, because I think the next time that
does.
you hit
It
after
hits.
that.
No, it hits, and then it tries to trigger, and then it can't, and then it's over. And it's literally
But I
bricked for
thought-
the whole turn.
I thought the wording on it was like, if it says the first time that like a thing would do it, but if it says the next time, it doesn't see the first thing, but it hits the second time.
I am 87.5% sure it bricks it for the whole turn, unless I've been lied to my whole life. It's
I
the
mean,
same
let me
thing
pull up
with
the
CLV.
Top Pit Trap release note.
Dude, it's
We'll throw a dice, and if Top Pit
3:30.
Trap works differently, then it goes to F tier. Release notes.
Jake, it's 3:30
Yeah,
in the morning.
And?
And, dude, I gotta wake up tomorrow. I've got an
I
armory
have
at
5 days
12.
off my life to just practice with this Pro Tour. Like,
Bruh.
it's not up, but yeah. Alright, let's round it out so Spencer can go to bed.
I mean, like, you guys can keep yapping.
We'll just assume that I'm right, because I am, and Tar Pit Trap works on both.
Yeah, it does. Alright, where's Riptide going?
Middle of B
I
tier
think
somewhere.
B
your
tier.
choice.
Yeah. I can agree with middle of B tier.
Yeah.
The
Alright.
deck has legs, I just don't think it's like crazy good in this meta.
Oh,
Don't
Vince said, I can't wait to hear.
Zuri CTR. Bolton is sleeper pick. Fires.
What does Bolton do in C tier? What the fuck?
Bolton?
Put
Dude, he
Azuri and Bolton into don't play. Like, those decks just like have
Put him
better
in, is
versions.
it like a dead wife territory? Yeah, put him there. Dead wife.
Yeah,
territory.
that's a good one. Bravo, yep, Dorinthia definitely in. Actually, Dora's probably in C tier.
Dora's definitely in C tier.
Doorblade has
Same
like
with Ira.
Doorblade like into like Zen is like actually a really hard matchup, and it can be hard for Aurora too.
Don't you dare
Azalea.
put Azalea somewhere in B tier. I don't know where, but it's somewhere in B tier.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Bing bong.
Like, somewhere next to Riptide.
Like, of those top 3 of those 4 decks, it can non-game every single one of those top 4 decks. I'm not saying it consistently does it, but it can very easily do it.
I
Absolutely.
don't know how it does into the new Enigma builds. I remember the defensive build it was really good into, but I can't remember if it was good or not.
Alright, what about
Eugene
Vincent?
tiers.
Every time your 2-card hand is CNC, it's good. If every time your 2-card hand is Metamorph or like Weakest Link, the Azalea's like, cool, I'll play 5 cards again.
What do we think about Vincent?
I don't know. Vincent is like, if you know what you're doing, it can fuck some decks up. But I'm too sleep deprived right now to actually tell you.
Do you okay? Here's the litmus test for this hero. Do you think it has a good Enigma matchup?
No.
Good answer. Good answer. Do you think it has a good Aurora matchup?
Yes.
Do you think it has a good Zen matchup?
Yes. Actually, yes. It
Really?
You can just
Okay, well,
fatigue them.
okay. You're 2 out of 3 so far. You're batting like 660. That's not.
No, no,
What
okay.
about Florian?
Florian? No. Florian just fatigues Vincent, easy.
Wait, so Florian just fatigues Vincent, but Zen doesn't just fatigue Vincent? With
Yeah,
Zen state?
Zed does just fatigue Vincent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this deck is just
so
like
your
not
reason
favorite.
for hating Zen. So your reason for hating not Zen, excuse me, Vincent, is that most of these decks can just fatigue it, quote unquote. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I think the deck's really good into Aurora though, and I think that's like a good place to be for this Pro Tour.
I think Vincent is much harder to fatigue than people give it credit for, and people just have bad builds and bad play patterns.
Yeah.
That being said, I still don't think it's favored into Enigma.
Oh, really?
I do agree with that. I think the good, like, especially these builds of Enigma that like can be quite aggressive, that I think are like you can switch to defense when you need to, and your opponent has a spike like crazy Vincent turn, but like the builds that just like kind of fall over when you just get AB 3'd on your rune chance. I feel like that's exactly the deck that like.
I mean, we can talk about the positives for Vincent, right? Which is Aurora should be a good matchup. Prism should be really good. The new matchup's very intricate. It's a hard one if you've never played it before. It's very 90-90 from what I hear and what I watch.
It's fucking
Yeah,
weird.
I have these 2 locals that just like sit in a room basically for like the last 6 months and have just like only played new Vincent, not a single other game, just new Vincent for months. And honestly, they still don't have a determinate answer about whether that matchup's good or not.
Yeah, it's a very interesting matchup. I'll give it that. I think it's a B tier hero.
I think it's top of B tier.
I wouldn't be surprised if like Runaways just like come out of nowhere and they're all on Vincent because it has a good Aurora matchup and they're just like, oh fuck it, we ball.
I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Shing type of player just at the top tables by his lonesome with some.
Yeah, Shing was on it.
With interesting sideboard plans or something. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, Shing was on it at Battle Hunt something. Or Kobe or something like
that. The last calling, wasn't he? He was on a Kobe, I thought. I could be lying.
Yeah, it would be. They don't really travel to the South American ones or anything.
Yeah, where does Prism go? I think this deck's like cracked. Banned. Oh, it's banned? Oh, whoops.
Just like the Auto War of my Runaways draft.
Dude, that was a crazy play.
Dude, we get that late game and it's like final like 6 cards in deck. My opponent just goes Auto War. I'm like, what the fuck?
So Kano. So I have 3 caveats to this hero. There will be probably one in the top 8. Just will. It always happens.
Yeah.
2, if you're a licensed magician, you will be in the top 8.
Yeah.
And number 3, I think Kano's a B tier hero.
I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna say I don't think people are gonna be super prepared for it. I don't think people are gonna expect it, which is just gonna make it stomp. So while it is a B tier hero, somewhere in B tier, maybe middle, I do think that people it's just gonna stomp out of nowhere. Like, do you expect Kano to be here?
Yes, his success rate will be determined at 11:57 the day before the Pro Tour when everybody puts in their pet card over Shock Charmers.
Yeah.
Kano goes to A tier.
You're so right though. You're actually like it's actually like so painful to admit, but you're just like correct. Like I feel like Acilio and Kano, their entire performance this Pro Tour, this depends on whether people play Shock Charmers or not.
Yeah.
Shock Charmers
11:59 or whatever when LSS's new deck list submission breaks and it doesn't work and everybody registers a Blitz hero and we're all disqualified in round 1. When that happens and everybody takes out Shock Charmers, I don't know, man. Kano and Acilio.
I feel like there's a really good personal anecdote I can talk about here. For a little bit of background context about me, I always respect Kano. I refuse to go to a tournament and have a 0% matchup into a deck that just like deterministically combos on Fender. Like I just refuse to, and like my local Kanos hate me for it.
Yeah.
The one time I have ever not prepared for Kano was Battle Hard in Toronto when I'm on Zen. And I was just like, Nick just played Tide Flippers and that's it. I'll be fine. No one's playing Kano in this meta. Round 6, I get paired into this Kano. And he gets to turn 2 and he has 3 E-Pods and a Potion of Deja Vu out. Has like the same card in Arsenal he's had since turn 1. I'm like, oh man.
And he does children's birthday parties.
He then went triple Kindle, Hitch Will, fucking like Wildfire for 10 million, blazing, like, I genuinely think I might have taken 200 damage that turn.
You should have popped Kasaya, dummy.
I
Dude,
did.
Kasaya would have like prevented a bazillion damage.
Because I died like the turn before that when it happened. And
oh
like,
man.
you're still at like 12 at this point, which is like.
Your Kasaya died. What do you mean it died? Like you blocked with it? Like how did it die?
I think I popped it like turn 1 or something, so we just waited it out, and like my deck was too slow to kill him. Like I just died before it mattered. Like, and it was like real telling about what happens with.
Wasn't like one of those double transcend turns where you couldn't really use the resources, so instead of arsenaling the cheat, you're just like, oh, I'll just make.
Yeah.
Surely I'll win. Surely I'll win.
Yeah, it was. It was like it started
And then
with
your
that.
and then your
I
next
hit
hand
one
was
button.
pouncing key blue, wind shocker blue.
Literally, exactly. That is the exact hand I think I drew. Like it was terrible. I was like, oh man. Like, and look, I've learned my lesson that I already kind of knew, and that's never take shock charmers out of your board, and also always register a hero that can play shock charmers.
Or just play Prism, bro. It's like a 100-0 matchup. 200
Okay, yeah,
zero
this is
matchup.
the other thing I wanted to talk about. Let's look at the top 3 decks in S, A, and B tier.
Okay.
So Aurora should like basically always beat Kano unless they forgot to bring shock charmers. In that case, that's their fault. But I feel like it's still like half the people in the room have to bring shock charm.
Oh yeah, Kano's not winning because Aurora just has shock charmers. I forgot. Sorry guys.
And then Enigma is like god awful for Kano. Like I have that on good authority from Farhad. Like that matchup is just like very painful for all Kanos, and every time he like gets slightly closer with like some weird strategy, and then he just like gets the end of testing, and he's like, "Oop, still not gonna work." And then
Yeah,
Prism.
people shouldn't play Kano because I'm definitely registering shock charmers.
Shout out Matt.
Yeah.
Shout out
Definitely.
Matt W.
I will say I'm kind of proud because if Zen LLs, I think all the top heroes on this list will be women, and I'm proud of that.
Wait, Florian's a woman?
I don't know, but the rest are.
It's kind of being expensive.
I don't know, bro.
I'm just saying, Aurora, woman, Enigma, woman, Prism, woman, Vincent, woman, New, woman, Jarl, TBD. We don't really know for sure. There's a lot of armor.
Verdance?
Verdance,
Riptide?
woman. Riptide, big tits.
Acilio?
I'm
Genderless.
cutting that out. I'm cutting that
Cilio,
out.
yeah, Cilio's like a
Yeah, sweet.
genderless nymph, and then we have Aurora.
We
and
just cut
Syndra,
all this
so-
conversation out, Spencer. This part's painful.
This part
Is that it? Is that? Oh, we got Slippy. We got Slippy left. Okay.
The dark
So what do you think
horse.
about
Okay, just say a letter and it's going there, and then someone else do the outro. I'm done.
Top B. Top
Alright.
B. Top B.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Top B, are we happy with that?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
good.
sick.
man.
Alright, someone do the
Hey, this looks
outro.
real good. Okay, guys, thanks for watching a great boosting Spendog video. And
Yay!
half of team ABC because we were too late to move the call into a private chat. Hopefully, Spencer manages to edit this into like some coherent video instead
Nah.
of just talking about.
Be better
random
if they
shit.
don't.
I'll-
Yeah, it's alright.
Dude, it's like 4 in the morning right now.